Friends, we are honored today to be with Attorney General Jeff Landry of the state of Louisiana on the very day that the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the June Medical Services case. General Landry, what a pleasure to meet you and be with you today.
Well, what a great opportunity to come and visit with you today, Paul. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You know, at the gathering that we were just at together, you made a point which I was so glad to hear because it's exactly what we're doing. The various groups that sent in friend of the court briefs, including our organization, we are making these known to people across America. The content of these briefs, they make arguments, as you well know, that supplement the main arguments that the court is looking at. Can you tell us, there was an historic number of these briefs with this case, weren't there? Can you tell us the significance of that?
Yes, there were. You know, there were, I think, 217 or 27 members of Congress from both parties that signed a particular brief. There were, I mean, just, you know, the brief that y'all supported. You know, those briefs are important. And what I'd said and what you alluded to is the fact that those briefs kind of boil the case down to more layman's terms. When, you know, when we submit our briefs to the Supreme Court, they're in a lot of legalese, right? They're pointed to try to make the point of exactly this is what the law says. The amicis give the readers or people an opportunity to understand generically what the case is about, why it's so important. An additional point to that would be for those who are watching and listening, I would encourage them to go to those briefs and then to write their own letters to the editor. Use that in your social media communications, because you know in today's world it's about communication.
It is.
And the one thing the other side tries to do is stifle that. And so if you're looking for the truth and you're looking for an easy way to explain it, you can find it in those amicis.
Yes. Attorney General Landry, your job, of course, involves defending the laws of the state of Louisiana. There's just one aspect of this case I wanted to get your thoughts on, and that is this. When a court comes in and says to a state, we know better than you do, as far as what laws are good for the people of your state, that to me is one of the most offensive aspects of what the pro-abortion side is doing. It's like the court trying to usurp the role of the legislators. The duly elected lawmakers of Louisiana passed this law for the safety and health of the women of Louisiana. Seems to me they know best what's good for the people of your state. And isn't part of the argument here that the courts ought to give more deference to the legislatures of the various states?
Well, certainly that's what our Constitution says. You know, our Constitution is really a contract between the states and the people. The federal government and the Supreme Court, for that fact, is actually a byproduct. They're a product of that contract, right? And so, you know, part of the problem that I see here in this country that we have today is exactly that point, Father, is exactly the fact that we don't respect the sovereignties of the state. That's what's unique about this case. What's unique about this case is that healthcare has always been within the policing power or within the jurisdiction of individual states. Everyone out there in all the different states around the country, each one of your states board their medical examiners, have certain regulations for how hospitals and facilities and clinics function. And that's what we did here in Louisiana, is that we didn't go out and make an exception and we were not punitive against abortion clinics. What we did was we said, you know what, if you're going to go to an abortion clinic, we want people going to that clinic to have the same level of protections as everyone else. That's why we think the case is an easy case.
Exactly. You know, I always say you can't practice vice virtuously. If you're an abortionist and you're tearing babies apart, you're going to have a lot of other things you're doing wrong too. And of course, the record with the abortion facilities in Louisiana is pretty grim as far as the violations that have occurred.
It is. And there's a lot of information in some of the amicis out there that actually point out some of the most grotesque evidence of a lack of health care and a lack of caring for the women and girls, because there were minors that went to this clinic.
Yes. Final question. I have heard you say many times, life is the priority. You are inspired by the mission of pro-life. Tell us how that shapes your work, your calling in the position that you are now?
Well, I mean, you know, it starts with Genesis, right? I mean, you know, we were given life. The Declaration of Independence talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's no coincidence. They didn't say like liberty, pursuit of happiness, and life.
And life, right.
Right? Because you can't have any of the other things without life. And you know, that's, and you know, the problem is that when we disrespect life, certainly at the beginning, okay, then we erode and basically corrode our entire system of justice, our entire system of governance that was built on fundamental law,
Right.
that being God's law,
Right.
I mean, simply law, our first laws came from who? From God, through Moses in the Ten Commandments. That's why you see Moses at the Supreme
At the
Court.
court, that's right.
Right. But what does all that start with? It starts with life.
It does. Attorney General Jeff Landry, thank you. Thank you for your work. We're praying for you. We're praying for the people of Louisiana, and we're praying for victory in this case.
Well, thank you, Father. Keep the prayers. We can use them.
God bless you.
God bless you.